Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right in to unpack The Cure. Basically, it's a really dynamic 3-day science lesson plan that is totally designed to transform your 7th graders into rigorous, skeptical scientific investigators. If you've ever wanted to teach students how to see right through misleading marketing and genuinely grasp the scientific method along the way, well, you are absolutely in the right place.
So, let's look at the core premise that hooks the kids right from the start. Just picture this. A brand new chewing gum called FocusMint hits the market, and it promises a massive 15-point boost on your next big test. I mean, it's a completely irresistible claim, right? Who wouldn't want to just chew a piece of minty gum and suddenly turn into a test-taking genius? But the real question we're tasking the students to answer is simply, is it actually true?
The setup here is great. This hypothetical gum company bombards the students with these glowing, completely cherry-picked testimonials. You know the type. "I chewed FocusMint and aced my test," says Jordan. Another kid, Riley, chimes in saying their grades shot up. Setting up this specific scenario creates just the perfect conflict for our educational mission. The students are essentially brought in as an independent science review team, and their job is to figure out what's actually going on behind all these flashy quotes.
Okay, so here is our quick roadmap for today. 1. The FocusMint mission. 2. Day 1. Evaluating claims. 3. Day 2. Comparing trial designs. 4. Day 3. Catching hidden variables. And 5. Scaffolds and grading. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The FocusMint mission.
So, what are we actually working with here? The entire package is a $19 mini-mission, targeted specifically at 7th grade science. It beautifully aligns with NGSS and Common Core standards, leaning heavily into experimental design, arguing from evidence, and data analysis. It's perfectly designed for groups of 3 to 4 students working together over 3 45-minute class periods. And the ultimate objective? To teach students exactly what a valid test requires. By the time they finish, they are going to understand everything from fair samples to catching tricky confounding variables, and it's all disguised as a fun, interactive investigation.
Moving right along to Section 2, Day 1, Evaluating Claims.
Day 1 kicks off with the claim. Students confront those glossy advertisements head-on, and they realize pretty quickly that a giant pile of testimonials does not magically equal a fair test. It's a great moment because it immediately challenges students to think critically about the sheer volume of information they are fed every single day. They actually have to step back and ask themselves, wait a minute, is this actually proof?
Through the Day 1 activities, the kids learn to articulate exactly why testimonials are such incredibly weak evidence. They discover that these quotes are totally cherry-picked. I mean, we never hear from the people the gum didn't help. Plus, there is absolutely zero comparison group. For all we know, Jordan aced his test because he literally studied for 10 hours straight, or maybe he just got incredibly lucky. Or, maybe he's just experiencing a strong placebo effect.
So to combat all this bad data, the students systematically build out their own fair test checklist. They establish that to build a genuinely rigorous experiment, you absolutely need a treatment group that gets the gum and a control group that just gets a plain ordinary mint. They also note you need the exact same test conditions across the board, and ideally a blinded sample where the kids don't even know which mint they're chewing. The absolute biggest takeaway for Day 1 is this: you 100% need a control group to see what happens to test scores without the gum.
All right, Section 3, Day 2, Comparing Trial Designs.
Day 2 is where things get really interesting. It's all about the trials. The students step up to act as a formal review board, and they have to analyze 2 completely different scientific studies that have just landed on their desks. The absolutely crucial point we're hitting here is teaching students to weigh evidence based on the actual quality of the study design, rather than just blindly trusting flashy, large numbers.
This brings us to the ultimate showdown. Study A, which happens to be provided by the gum company itself, boasts a massive 12-point gain. But then you look at the design. 5 students, 0 control group. It is just a remarkably weak test. Meanwhile, Study B is an independent trial with 200 students, a placebo, and blinding. It is a highly robust design. And the result? The FocusMint group averaged an 82, and the placebo group averaged an 81, a completely negligible 1-point difference. Students learn a vital life lesson right here. A bigger number pulled from a fundamentally weak design proves absolutely nothing.
Which brings us to Section 4, Day 3, Catching Hidden Variables.
But wait, the gum company isn't going down without a fight. They fire back, Presenting Study C, which claims a jaw-dropping 20-point gain at one specific school. I mean, it sounds incredibly impressive, until the students put their scientific detective hats back on and read the fine print. They dig in and uncover that all the FocusMint users at that school were also enrolled in a brand new after-school tutoring program. And the kids who didn't get the gum? Yeah, they didn't get the tutoring either.
This is just a brilliant pedagogical move. It isolates a really critical vocabulary word, confounding variable, right at the exact moment they realize the tutoring, not the gum, was the true cause of those high scores. Because there were two actual differences between the groups, the gum and the tutoring, you simply cannot credit the gum. The data is entirely confounded.
And that leads us to the ultimate verdict. The students write out an evidence-based capstone reflection, synthesizing everything they've absorbed over the last 3 days. They confidently conclude that the evidence simply does not support the company's claim, and that the one actually well-controlled study, Study B, proved the gum had zero real effect. Finally, let's look at Section 5, Scaffolds and Grading.
Now, the creators of the cure made sure to include everything needed to support diverse learners. For students who might struggle staring at a blank page or who just need a bit more structure, the lesson provides scaffolded pages. These feature simple checkboxes for the fair test checklist and highly effective sentence frames like, "Testimonials aren't proof because," followed by a blank space. This is huge because it ensures every single student can fully participate in the rigorous reasoning process without getting bogged down by the formatting of their answers.
And for us as educators, assessing this whole thing is a total breeze. This metrics rubric makes it incredibly easy to evaluate the students' actual scientific reasoning. Notice that you aren't just grading them on whether they guessed the right verdict. You're actually grading them on whether they understand a fair test, if they judge studies by their design rather than jumping at a big, flashy number, and if they successfully caught that sneaky confounding tutoring variable. It completely shifts the focus away from rote memorization and right onto actual critical thinking.
This entire 3-day learning arc beautifully, and I mean beautifully, reinforces one profound, real-world lesson. A rigorously controlled trial will always, always beat a glowing testimonial.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I really want you to think about your own day for a second. Ask yourself, how many marketing claims did you casually believe today without checking for a control group? And even more importantly, are your students truly equipped with the critical thinking skills to investigate those claims, catch those hidden variables, and demand the real data? Because the cure is a pretty phenomenal way to make sure that they are. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive.